So I usually talk about dogs or horses, but I want to talk about people for a minute because we all have a nervous system, and our nervous system is a brilliant design to keep us alive. And we go into the sympathetic nervous system for fight, flight, and freeze to literally keep us alive in dangerous situations. And then ideally, our nervous system resets and we come back down into the parasympathetic system, which is where we rest and digest and come back to calm. Horses are beautiful examples of a healthy nervous system. As animals of prey, their nervous system can be triggered in a nanosecond. If one of the horses just flicks an ear and looks in a direction, every nervous system, every horse in the herd is triggered. But then if that horse puts her head down and resumes grazing, all of the horse's nervous systems instantly calm down and relax. I was working with a young girl who was about 12 years old, who had a lot of anxiety. And she happened to be leading one of my horses. And we heard a loud crash over at the neighbors. I don't know what they were doing, but everybody was fine. But the horse's head popped up out of the grass. And I said to the young girl, just take a breath. Everything's fine. Feel the breath in your belly and let your shoulders relax. And just while I said that, the horse went right back to eating because she knew it wasn't a threat. And the 12-year-old girl looked at the horse and said, I wish I could do that. Because she realized that her nervous system doesn't come back to rest and calm. But if we think about anxiety, which is fear of the future, right? We're worried about the future. The anxiety, what's under the anxiety is a feeling of fear. And what's under the fear is a feeling of, I won't be able to handle this. And what's under that feeling of I won't be able to handle this is the story that I'm not good enough. I am not enough. This is a story that is a common thread among millions and millions of people. And where did it come from? A million different places. But if you think of yourself, if you have a photograph of yourself at 3 or 4 years old, and you look at that little blonde, bright-eyed being, there's nothing in that body that says I'm not good enough. In fact, that story at that time is, I want to do it. I can do it. Look how fast I can run. I'm a superhero. I know how. I can do anything. That's the story that little spirit body living in the human body is living with. And they run and pump their little arms and they say they're going so fast and they're barely moving. But they know they can do it. And they know they're capable and able and good enough. And then things happen in our environment that change our story. Anything can happen. The loss of a caregiver, the change of environment, moving, being told by a teacher that you did it wrong, certainly being criticized, demeaned, hit, all the things that children may endure. But it could be something very subtle. We're all born with a different nervous system. We all have a nervous system. Some beings are born more sensitive, more hyper vigilant, more reactive. So that story can switch in a heartbeat. And then we're living in a story of, it's my fault, I'm not good enough, I should be able to fix this, I should be able to change. If I was just better, everything would change. If I was better, my parents would stop fighting. If I was better, my teacher wouldn't be disappointed in my grade. If I was better, my friends wouldn't make fun of me. On and on and on. But what is the story? The story is a compilation of words that we have strung together. And what are words? Symbols, shapes that we put together to indicate sounds. So now, that little being, that blonde, blue-eyed being that could do anything, because of a bunch of marks, symbols, and shapes put together, now is an adult with anxiety, living in the story of I'm not good enough, I won't be able to handle it, I have to panic over what's ahead, even though I don't know what's ahead, but I'm already going to go in to my reactive nervous system, to fight and flight nervous system, even though what I'm imagining may not ever happen. What if I could let go of that? What if I could let go of that story that I'm not good enough? Because it's a lie. It's an invented story. An invented story is not truth. The truth is, I am still the bright light, big-eyed, smiling 3-year-old who knows that I can do anything. Is that also a story? Sure. But I'd rather live with that invented story than one that's riddled with anxiety and panic attacks. So if I can try to be the adult that 3-year-old child needed to continue the story of I am able, I am capable, I am brilliant, I am kind, I am love, I would like to continue parenting that child in that story and see where we go. Because if I always remember that my anxiety is based on a fabricated story that's a lie, I don't have to believe it anymore. I don't have to watch that movie anymore. I can switch to Netflix on a different channel and watch the movie of the little blonde, blue-eyed, bright child who tried things and made mistakes and cried and had a temper tantrum and felt my feelings and jumped up and down when I was excited and raced around in circles when we were going somewhere fun. But all my emotions were expressed, all my emotions were valid, and life was an adventure of highs and lows and mistakes and joys, and that never has to stop. It shouldn't stop. But our culture, unfortunately, tells us not to feel our feelings, suppress our feelings. And the minute we do that, we start to mess with our nervous system because it can't handle all those stacked feelings that haven't been let out. And we add to that stories about mistakes we made that are now not a mistake that we made, but now it's a mistake that determines who we are. That's a crazy story. So my hope is that every human being can start to look at their anxiety as the symptom of a story, and that the story was created as another symptom, as a result of the environment that we were trying to manage. And in that environment, we needed to find ways to stay safe and be sure that we were cared for. And so if we thought that we weren't enough, we started to try to be a people pleaser and do everything right so that we could stay alive. But if we back up all the way before our environment squished us, and remember that blonde, blue-eyed, quick to joy, quick to cry, quick to return to joy self. And now as an adult, provide our own environment for that child to thrive and believe in themselves and express themselves and cry when you need to cry and be angry when you need to be angry and be joyful when you want to be joyful. And love yourself because you are enough. And the world needs you, your love.